Chosen one, you have only 2 minutes to quiet your heart, yet your heart has already recognized that you were led here to hear a truth concerning someone who has been silently carrying you in the deepest chambers of their thoughts. Beloved child, I am Michael, and I have not come to frighten you with a clock counting down, nor do I use urgency to pressure you into believing something that has not been proven. I simply want you to step away for a moment from the noise that has been pulling your mind in every direction, because sometimes a brief moment of stillness is enough for you to see what months of rushing have concealed. You thought you were searching for an answer, but for a long time, the question within you has quietly been drawing that answer nearer. A gentle presence is surrounding you in this moment, like an unseen hand resting upon your shoulder and reminding you that you have not been forgotten. Your name has been spoken with love, not in a place intended to make you afraid, but in the prayer of someone who has always desired peace for you. The person with whom you sense a special bond is holding something within themselves that they have not yet been able to express. This secret is not necessarily a scheme or anything that should cause you anxiety. It may simply be a feeling too deep for them to know where to place it, a longing they have attempted to hide behind silence, or a decision they are still struggling to find the courage to make. I was sent not to speak on their behalf about things only they have the right to say, but to help you understand that silence does not always mean indifference. Some people move away because they do not care, but others step back because their feelings frighten them. They fear they are not good enough, fear that the past will repeat itself, and fear that if they come closer to you, their unhealed wounds may hurt both of you. Therefore, what is being concealed may not be rooted in deception, but in a heart that has not yet learned how to be honest with itself. I want you to hold this understanding in purity. Do not rush to tell others. Use it as a reason to speculate or place pressure upon anyone. The most sacred things often need to be kept in silence until they are mature enough to come into the light. You do not need to search for every sign and piece them together into the story you desire. Allow the truth to reveal itself through actions, consistency, and the way this person chooses to treat you. If their feelings are sincere, they will not appear only through beautiful words, but will also be demonstrated through respect, clarity, and a genuine desire to build a healthy relationship. I do not want you to surrender your heart to a vague prediction. I want you to preserve your dignity, to remain open yet wise, and to carry hope without losing your ability to discern. Recently, you may have noticed that your presence has become more noticeable. When you enter a room, someone may look at you longer than usual. Someone may feel drawn to you even though they know little about you. And someone else may become unsettled because you no longer carry the posture of a person who bows beneath every wound. This is not because you are trying to attract attention, but because you have begun to live more truthfully according to your worth. The peace formed after many trials creates a light that does not need to display itself. Those who are sensitive to change will recognize it before you are even able to name it. The person who is thinking about you has also noticed this transformation. During restless sleep, they may have seen your face, heard again something you once said, or remembered a moment that seemed insignificant, but never truly left them. There are nights when this emotion becomes so strong that they awaken with tears in their eyes, not because of despair, but because they have finally realized that you have become more important to them than they ever allowed themselves to admit. I see the image of a piece of paper that has been kept for a long time, bearing your name or a few lines connected to you. It may be an unsent letter, a private wish, an old note, or simply a symbol of things they have not possessed enough courage to say directly. The reverse side of that paper represents the part of the truth that remains hidden, an apology that has not been spoken, a confession for which the proper moment has not yet arrived, or a plan that was written down and then put away. Today may not necessarily be the day that paper is placed into your hands, but it may be the day you begin to understand that behind their silence lies a story you have never fully known. However, beloved child, do not allow anticipation to become a chain. This person may love you deeply, but sincere love still requires maturity before it can become a peaceful place of refuge. The intensity of emotion cannot replace responsibility, and beautiful dreams cannot replace clear conversation. If they truly desire to enter your life, they must learn to overcome the obstacle that is preventing them from moving forward. It may be the fear of rejection, an unresolved previous commitment, physical distance, family circumstances, insecurity, or painful memories from a past relationship. It is not your task to tear down every wall for them. You may pray, and you may open a door to honest communication, but you must not make yourself responsible for carrying lessons they must face for themselves. If these words are bringing peace to you, you may express your openness with a simple statement within your heart. I am ready to recognize the truth through love and wisdom. You do not need to perform a ritual to force something good to happen. No click, comment, or material gift can purchase grace. When you support a voice that brings healing, do so willingly, not because you fear that a good door will close if you do not give. Generosity is truly beautiful, only when it comes from freedom. When you give because you desire someone else to be uplifted, not because you believe you must pay a price to be loved or protected. I still encourage you to live with a generous heart, because every act of kindness can become refreshing water for someone who is exhausted. A timely word of encouragement, a meal given to someone in need, a transparent contribution to worthy work, or a moment of sincere listening can change the direction of another person's day. But remember that what you give is not a bargain with heaven. You plant kindness because kindness belongs to the nature of light, and what returns to you may not come in the form of money or immediate benefit. Sometimes the reward is peace, a restored relationship, the ability to sleep without fear, or the joy of knowing that you helped someone no longer feel alone. Now, as this brief moment draws to a close, I am not telling you that the truth will disappear if you leave. What belongs to you will not be cancelled simply because you missed a message. Yet a moment of awakening may pass if you once again hurry to cover what your heart is attempting to remind you of. This person never intended to love you so deeply, so quickly, or to allow your presence to enter their most hidden places. Nevertheless, it happened, and at this moment they are still using silence to conceal an emotion they do not yet know how to carry. Let them take responsibility for their truth, while you take responsibility for your peace. When the right time arrives, what needs to be said will be spoken. What needs to become clear will be revealed, and you will not have to beg for a love that genuinely desires to find its way to you. I tell you that many people stop moving forward, not because they were denied an opportunity, but because when the door of true change opens, they become afraid of the very thing for which they once prayed. People often desire a new life while still wanting to preserve their old habits. They long for freedom, yet cling to familiar places, simply because those places are predictable. They plead for a turning point, and when that turning point arrives in the form of a separation, a difficult decision, or a road no one has traveled with them, they quickly assume they must have heard incorrectly. Beloved child, do not allow discomfort to make you turn away from what is leading you toward maturity. Many great transitions begin when you leave a place that has become too narrow for what I am placing within you. You were not created to disappear into the crowd or to live small, merely so that others will not feel uncomfortable. What makes you different is not a reason to consider yourself superior, but a reminder that you have been entrusted with a unique assignment. I am not calling you to seek attention. I am calling you to remain faithful to what is right, even when no one is watching. Greatness does not begin with applause, but with quiet decisions. You choose forgiveness instead of bitterness, discipline instead of delay, honesty instead of decorating the truth, and continued movement, even when there is no guarantee that everything will be easy. These choices are what shape you into someone capable of carrying the blessing you once only knew how to request. The moment you surrender to a sacred purpose, your story is no longer limited to your private needs. Difficult days, moments of misunderstanding, and years that seemed delayed begin to carry a different meaning. They become places where you learn compassion, perseverance, and how to strengthen others. What I heal within you can become a message of hope for someone in despair. An experience you once wished to forget can become a lamp for someone standing in the very place where you once stood. Therefore, do not despise your journey. You do not speak from theory, but from a life that has passed through trials and still preserved tenderness. Your story is entering an important chapter, not because every difficulty has disappeared, but because you have matured enough to see those difficulties through different eyes. Pieces that once seemed disconnected are beginning to find their proper places. An ordinary meeting may open the door to a necessary partnership. A skill learned during a season of scarcity may become a means of building your future. A rejection may have protected you from a place that would have slowly eroded your dignity and peace. When you look back with wisdom, you will see that I never wasted a single sincere tear. I have been quietly connecting things you could not see, preparing the right people, and arranging the timing. There is support surrounding your journey that ordinary sight cannot measure. The prayers of those who came before you, the silent sacrifices made within your family, and the good hopes carried through many generations continue to leave their mark upon the road you are walking. Messengers of light are sent not to do your part for you, but to protect, remind, and strengthen you when your responsibility becomes heavy. You do not need to pretend that you are never weak. You only need to remember that weakness does not mean abandonment. When you are tired, rest so that you may be restored, but do not abandon what is right. When you are confused, slow down so that you can listen, but do not return to old chains, merely because they are more familiar than the road to freedom. Your life was never entrusted to you alone. The breakthrough you desire does not end with comfort, fame, or recognition. A mature blessing always carries responsibility. When you rise from the place that once buried you, you show others that suffering does not have the authority to write the ending. When you choose trust, instead of surrendering to panic, someone watching you may recover the courage to continue for one more day. When you use what you have received to protect the vulnerable, encourage the exhausted, and prepare a way for those who come after you, you transform your success into a stream of water for many. What is placed into your hands is not only intended to make your own life beautiful, but also to serve something greater than yourself. Therefore, beloved child, do not shrink back when the new chapter begins. Enter it with awareness, understanding that every opportunity must be tested by truth and every responsibility must be carried with love. Do not pursue what is dazzling, but do not reject what is right, merely because it requires you to grow. I have prepared you through every season that seemed meaningless, every period of waiting, and every moment when you had to choose faith before seeing the result. You do not need to know the entire road. You only need to remain faithful to the clear step before you. As you walk, more light will appear. As you obey, your wisdom will deepen. Rise with gratitude, move forward with courage, and remember that your victory may become a bridge that leads many others out of a darkness they believed they would never escape. Begin each morning with intentional awareness, because the way you begin the day will quietly direct what unfolds during the hours that follow. I do not want you merely to repeat a few familiar words as a memorized ritual and then rush into the worries waiting for you. I want you to pause, breathe deeply, place your heart in stillness, and speak clearly about what you believe, what you are expecting, and the person you are being guided to become. Declare with steadiness that anxiety will not control you, that you will walk with clarity, that the right doors will open at the proper time, and that roads that no longer belong to you will close in peace. When you speak with sincere faith, you are not attempting to persuade heaven to give you something. You are bringing your mind, emotions, and choices back into proper order. Your words will become an anchor that prevents you from being swept away by bad news, the opinions of others, or unexpected changes. You must understand that each morning is a new field, and the words you plant within it will determine whether you cultivate hope or fear, gratitude or complaint, courage or hesitation. Therefore, use your voice like a lamp, not to display power, but to remind yourself that you do not enter the new day alone. After bringing your heart into alignment with clarity, you must also examine the environment surrounding you. Because a new life cannot grow in a healthy way within a place filled with old, heavy, and disorderly things. I am not speaking only about your room, your desk, or possessions you have kept for too long, but also about conversations that leave you exhausted, habits that keep you stagnant, and relationships that continually pull you back toward the version of yourself you are attempting to outgrow. Not everyone who walks with you during one season is meant to accompany you until the end of your journey. Some people must be loved from a safe distance. Some relationships require new boundaries, and some connections must be viewed through truth rather than nostalgia. I am not telling you to become cold, closed, or quick to remove everyone from your life. I am teaching you to recognize the difference between kindness and enabling, between compassion and permitting others to repeatedly damage your peace. You may forgive without reopening every door. You may love without giving control to those who do not know how to value what is good within you. This clearing is not an act of resentment, but preparation through wisdom. A vessel already filled with old water cannot receive a fresh stream, and a room crowded with things that no longer have value cannot welcome the goodness that is attempting to enter. There are things you continue to hold merely because they are familiar, even though you know they no longer bring life. You may have become accustomed to awakening with anxiety, blaming yourself, responding to negative words, or attempting to prove your worth to people who have never truly seen you. These patterns may have existed so long that you believe they are permanent parts of you. But I tell you that familiarity does not mean righteousness. You do not need to continue carrying burdens merely because you have carried them for a long time. Begin with simple steps. Bring order to the place where you live. Remove objects that continually return you to painful days. Spend less time in places that darken your mind. And stop giving attention to voices that always cause you to doubt yourself. Every small choice is a declaration that you are ready to enter another season. Do not underestimate the importance of creating empty space, because that space will become a dwelling place for peace, a place where creativity can grow, and a place where new opportunities can find you without being obstructed by the echoes of the past. After you have prayed, put things in order, and released what must go, you must be willing to move before every detail has been fully revealed. I know that you often want to understand the entire path before taking the first step. You want to know the outcome, the timing, the guarantee, and how everyone will respond. But some doors open only when you approach them, some instructions appear only after you begin, and some answers are given only to those who are already moving. I may place within you a small idea, an impulse that is difficult to explain, a meeting that seems accidental, or an opportunity that does not yet appear perfect. Do not dismiss it merely because it does not look as great as you imagined. Many important journeys begin with a quiet decision that no one notices. You do not need everyone's agreement before moving forward, nor must you explain every choice to people who have not been given the ability to see what you are sensing. Sincere obedience is not always understood by the majority, but it will lead you to places where hesitation can never take you. Nevertheless, acting in faith does not mean behaving impulsively or abandoning wisdom. Learn to distinguish between a prompting that arises from deep peace and an impulse born from the fear of missing out. The right step may cause you to tremble, but beneath that trembling, there will still be a quiet clarity. It will not pressure you to prove yourself, demand that you exchange your dignity, or require you to enter chaos. When you sense this kind of guidance, do the work directly before you. Send the letter that needs to be sent. Complete the application you have postponed. Begin studying what has long remained in your thoughts. Reach out to the right person, or leave a place that no longer nourishes your growth. Do not allow excessive analysis to transform a simple invitation into a maze without an exit. At times, you asked for a sign, but when the sign appeared, you requested another. Because you were afraid to accept responsibility for your decision. I want you to mature beyond that. Trust that guidance will continue to accompany you as you move with a pure heart and a humble attitude. Throughout this transition, the thing you must guard most carefully is your inner peace. As you draw closer to a turning point, events that appear unrelated may arise at the same time to make you weary and distracted. A small disagreement may suddenly become tense. A comment from someone close to you may touch an old wound. An unexpected expense may cause panic, or your body may react to pressure you have held inside for too long. Do not immediately assume that every difficulty means you are moving in the wrong direction. Some disturbances arise because you are leaving an old order. Just as dust rises when a room that has been closed for a long time is opened and cleaned. What matters is not whether disturbance appears, but how you respond when it comes. If you allow fear to guide you, you may speak words you do not wish to speak, make hurried decisions, and return to the place that once imprisoned you. But if you keep your heart still, you will realize that not every invitation to argue requires a response. Not every problem must be solved in one night, and not every emotion is a command. Therefore, when the pressure increases, slow down instead of rushing. Pray before replying, rest before making a major decision, and remain silent when your words are in danger of becoming arrows that wound. Peace does not mean that you no longer face challenges. It means that you retain your sense of direction amid the noise around you. You do not need to prove your strength by reacting to every provocation. Some victories come because you refuse to enter a battle that does not belong to you. Some doors remain protected simply because you refuse to allow anger to destroy what has been prepared. I want you to know that you have the right to pause, the right to leave a disrespectful conversation, and the right to choose calm instead of continuing to feed chaos. Each time you do this, you are declaring that circumstances no longer rule you. Beloved child, this season of transition does not require you to become perfect. It only requires you to remain faithful to the small steps that have been illuminated before you. Begin each day with words of faith. Clear away what is occupying the space intended for something new. Act when guidance comes, and guard your peace like a precious treasure. Do not be afraid when some people no longer understand you, when old habits begin to feel uncomfortable, or when you must move without seeing the entire road. These things are not necessarily losses. Sometimes they are signs that you no longer fit within the clothing of yesterday. I am beside you in every quiet choice, every time you say no to what weakens you, and every time you say yes to growth. Move forward with faith that is gentle yet steadfast. What is being built within you is more important than what is leaving you, and the peace you protect today will become the foundation for the good things tomorrow will bring. Beloved child, the bond that makes your heart unable to easily forget this person is not merely a passing emotion, but also an invitation for you to look more deeply at the true meaning of this encounter. I know that many times you have attempted to convince yourself that it was nothing more than an ordinary attraction. That time would eventually erase every trace, and that if you kept yourself busy enough, their image would stop returning during moments of stillness. Yet, the more you tried to move away, the more you realized that something continued to quietly draw your thoughts back. This was not intended to make you live in obsession, nor to cause you to lose your peace because of another person, but to help you understand that some encounters are permitted to awaken the deepest places within both people. This person touched a place within you that others had never reached, and you also stirred something within them that they had hidden for a very long time. I want you to understand that a love carrying sacred meaning is not recognized through beautiful promises or temporary emotional intensity. It reveals itself through its ability to cause two people to see the truth about themselves. Since meeting you, this person has found it difficult to continue escaping from the unresolved things within them. Your presence exposed fears they had carefully concealed, desires they believed they were not permitted to have, and even the need to be loved sincerely that they had buried beneath a strong outward appearance. For this reason, they may have moved closer and then retreated, opened their heart for a moment, and immediately rebuilt their walls. This contradiction does not necessarily mean that every feeling was false. Sometimes it simply shows that they do not know what to do when an emotion is so genuine that their old defenses no longer work. Perhaps you saw their coldness and assumed they no longer cared. You heard their silence and believed you meant nothing to them. But beneath that appearance of indifference may be an inner struggle. They themselves do not yet possess enough courage to name. They attempted to create distance because distance allowed them to feel that they still had control. They avoided speaking about you because even the sound of your name was enough to throw emotions. They thought they had organized back into disorder. They claimed that they were fine because admitting the truth would require them to face choices, responsibilities, and changes they were not yet prepared to make. You did not see the nights when they replayed your conversations, the moments when they wanted to contact you and then deleted what they had written, or the times when they wondered whether they had lost someone they might never find anywhere else. Even so, my child, do not turn what has not been spoken into a reason to stop living. A genuine bond does not require you to chase, beg, or exchange your dignity in order to be chosen. Sacred love does not continually nourish chaos, nor does it require one person to stand forever outside the door while the other refuses to accept responsibility for their actions. If this person is truly being called to walk beside you, they must also learn to overcome fear, speak the truth, and approach you with clarity. You cannot mature on their behalf, heal on their behalf, or use your patience to excuse every occasion on which they wound you. Your part is to keep your heart gentle while keeping your feet firmly planted, to love without abandoning yourself, and to hope while continuing to discern with wisdom. I have drawn near to you now, not to make you intoxicated by a story without a foundation, but to protect you from two dangerous extremes. On one side is despair, which causes you to deny every good thing that may once have existed. On the other side is illusion, which causes you to attach sacred meaning to every form of inconsistency. You must examine the fruit of this connection. Does it help you become more peaceful, mature, and truthful? Does it invite you to respect yourself, heal your wounds, and move beyond old patterns? Or does it merely leave you exhausted from guessing, waiting, and continually blaming yourself? What comes from the light will not strip you of all clarity. Even when the journey contains challenges, it will still lead you toward truth, responsibility, and growth.